Welcome. All right, today's topic, we're going to be talking about carb cycling. Some of you may have heard it, some of you may have tried it. I just want to give my experience and my knowledge that I know about carb cycling. Here's the bottom line. Carb cycling does work to an extent. It's actually a pretty brilliant model, right? You get this influx of carbs where you get oversaturated with these carbs. You feel good. You're like, man, I got good energy. You could see the muscle glycogen in your body. Okay, cool. And then instead of going too long with high carbs, you slowly cut back on the carbs, right? So now you go to low carbs. So you have these days where you're alternating. The cool thing about that is it usually adds a lot of diversity to your food, which is really good for your gut health anyway, because you're gonna have lower carb days where you're gonna have to increase, you're gonna have to get creative with your proteins and your fats. And then on those higher carb days, odds are the fat's gonna be low, so you gotta get creative with low fat carbs, really lean protein. So carb cycling, one of my favorite benefits to it is it adds versatility to your food intake because, hey, this is a known fact. If you continuously eat the same food over and over and over and over and over again, your body will develop or reject it at some point in time. Usually get digestive distress, develop food sensitivities, etc. So carb cycling does a really good job of that. And it allows you to eat a lot more carbs on a day-to-day basis than you normally probably would. Makes it kind of fun, makes it interesting, keeps things interesting, having to mix it up all the time. Now, here's the downside. It's very hard to stay consistent with carb cycling for the rest of your life. Here's the thing you gotta ask yourself when you try, and I'm not against trying any form of quote unquote dieting, but here's what you gotta ask yourself. Can you do this the rest of your life? To me, although I got good results with carb cycling, I couldn't do it for the rest of my life. I couldn't permanently demand these very low carb days in my life when maybe I was gonna have some type of an event or I was gonna go to dinner or a meeting or I wanted something else intuitively. The restriction of it didn't fit into my long-term lifestyle. And here's a problem I have with that. Even if you get tremendous results, right, over a time span, let's call it 2 months, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, doing this. The only way to maintain those results is to continue doing what you were doing to get the results. See what I'm saying here? So if it's not realistic, then over time, if you fade away from that form of dieting, your results tend to fade with you. So you gotta think about that. And maybe you try it and you have really good success, but you know in your brain you're not gonna do this forever. So how can you modify it to be more of a lifestyle? That's my only problem that I have with carb cycling. But remember, I love that it adds versatility to your day. So maybe you try it to see if you get some really good results, and then you modify it into a lifestyle. Or you just ask yourself right off the bat, do I see myself doing high carb, medium carb, low carbs, or high carb, low carb days continuously for the rest of my life? Because remember, we get sucked in to doing these things for short-term gain, and they never yield long-term results. So you gotta think the same way about your food and what you're putting in your body on a consistent everyday basis. So hope I could shed some light on the carb cycling thing. Other than that, that's all I have today, guys. So again, thank you for joining me.